All right, time for another Nerdy Virgin podcast. It's a balmy 500 degrees here in Burbank today. My name is Joshua Snyder, and I'm kind of thinking this climate change issue should be something we should address right now instead of waiting until the last minute, because I think this is the last minute. I did not lose my virginity until I was 32. I am a comedian. Are the two of those related? Who can say? Who can say? I am planning on just kind of talking at you for an hour. Talking to you, not talking at you. Talking to you. This is a conversation. This is a conversation with a give and a take, even though no one is here to actually give back. And I got to say, I've been very vocal about my feeling that the lasso of truth that Wonder Woman uses in Wonder Woman 1984 stretches credibility. And I made a comment about that in the green room at the comedy club yesterday, and I was immediately shot down. People saying, well, that's, it's a superhero movie. If you're watching a superhero movie and you're parsing out the logic, you shouldn't be watching the movie. This is why I love podcasting. Because I'm alone in this room. And there's no one around who can dispute my complaint. Of course, I'm well aware that it is a superhero movie with a lot of magic involved. I'm well aware of it. I am well aware of it. But I do think that and I'm paraphrasing something that somebody else said. Every movie has its own rules. And once you create the rules, if you break the rules, and whether or not the rules themselves are based in fantasy or reality is irrelevant. The point is you make the rules. You then can't break the rules. Or if you do break the rules, it comes off as jarring. There's a really great Family Guy joke about how in Superman 2, at one point, he pulls the cellophane S off of his chest and momentarily incapacitates somebody with it. And in the Family Guy, they said, what is that? It's this power that's kind of out of the blue. No pun intended, because he wears a blue costume. Hey, that's a comedy podcast. And so at any rate, I guess I just felt with the Wonder Woman lasso of truth, the fact that she lassos a plane and is able to use that to catapult into the sky and fly halfway across the world. We had never really seen her do anything on that scale in the Wonder Woman movies before or in the Justice League. So it felt like a violation of the rules. It seemed to be going beyond the bounds of what she could do based on what was laid out. And that, my friends, is my complaint. And perhaps I did not word it so succinctly, but I was delivered a strong rebuke by the other elements in the room when I made that complaint. And that is why I podcast alone. As I said in the last podcast, I'd rather be right and alone than wrong and in a community. That's probably what's wrong with America right now. I think everyone is in that same place. Would rather be right and alone than wrong and perhaps better off. All right, so I want to talk about SilverHawks. Let's dive into SilverHawks. I started to talk about it at the end of the podcast last week. I want to talk about it now. I'm going to go to the Wikipedia page because I never really watched a full episode all the way through. Somehow I missed this one when I was growing up. But let's just jump in. Okay, so first of all, there's a warning at the top of this article. It says, this article uses bare URLs, which may be threatened by link rot. Please consider converting them to full citations to ensure the article remains verifiable and maintains a consistent citation style. First of all, I love that we are being diligent in preserving the memory and the facts and the history of SilverHawks with all of the precision of the Library of Congress. Bare URL, by the way, I think that's a video that was made illegal. I think that it was an illegal movie that was made overseas and was released here. It's X-rated. Bare URL. Don't watch it. Link rot. What is link rot? I'm going to click. It's like most large websites, Wikipedia suffers from the phenomenon known as link rot, where external links become dead as the linked web pages or complete websites disappear, change their content, or move without HTML redirection. This presents a significant threat to Wikipedia's reliability policy and its source citation guideline. In general, do not delete cited information solely because the URL to the source does not work any longer. Tools, procedures, and processes are available as outlined in this document. All right, good to know. I love that this message is as much for the person writing the article about SilverHawks as it is for anyone reading it. Probably because the person writing the article about this 1980s cartoon is probably the only person who cares. So it is meant more for that person. You know what? That could be unfair. The fact that they're remaking SilverHawks indicates that they think there's an audience. There's enough of an audience. That they were probably in a room going, hey, there's a Wikipedia page on it. Let's remake it. All right. Now I feel guilty for making fun of the guy who wrote the article about SilverHawks. Or the lady, or whoever. Because it was probably somebody with integrity. Probably a nice person who doesn't deserve my wrath because I am grasping at straws for creating content. Okay. SilverHawks is an American animated television series developed by Rankin Bass Productions and distributed by Lorimar Telepictures in 1986. The animation was provided by Japanese studio Pacific Animation Corporation. In total, 65 episodes were made. It was created as a space-based equivalent of their previous series, Thundercats. And by the way, I've complained about this before. I will complain about this again. In SilverHawks, they fly through space, but they treat deep space like there's gravity and atmosphere. Somebody fell out of a car, a hover car in space. They fell out of the car and fell down into space. There is no down in space. I never thought I would say this, but this cartoon made me long for the realism of Thundercats. Though Thundercats had its moments too, believe you me. As was the case with Thundercats, there was also a SilverHawks comic book series published by Marvel Comics under the imprint Star Comics. Why didn't they just publish it under Marvel Comics? Were they ashamed? Were you ashamed, Marvel Comics, of your SilverHawks comic? An imprint of Star Comics, by the way, imprint of Marvel Comics that began in 1984 and featured titles that were aimed at child readers and were often adaptations of children's television series, animated series, or toys. I see. It was the child version of Marvel. Something for the young kids. You know what? Let's teach young kids that it's totally fine to fly through the vacuum of space without any oxygen. Yes, perfect. A bionic policeman called Commander Stargazer recruited the SilverHawks, heroes who are partly metal, partly real. Isn't metal real as well? I think they're all real. I think what they meant was part machine, part organic. That's probably more what they meant. To fight the evil Monstar, an escaped alien mob boss who transforms into an enormous armor-plated creature with the help of Limbo's Moonstar. Monstar with the Moonstar. They love putting star at the everything. That's how you know it's science fiction. There's a star at the end of it. Yes, I like to order a cappuccino star with a 2 pump stars of caramel star. And I'd like to get that to go star, please, star. Thank you, star. Joining Monstar in his villainy is an intergalactic mob. The snake-like Yes Man. Oh, yes, that's wonderful. The snake-like Yes Man. Somebody making this cartoon really hates corporate America. The blade-armed buzzsaw. Well, that makes sense. That's logical. That's rational. The bull-headed mumbo-jumbo. Bull-headed mumbo-jumbo. So the head of a bull, but mumbo-jumbo. Probably believes in baseless conspiracy theories. Like, oh, I don't know, in space you can't breathe because there's no oxygen. Crazy stuff like that. A weather controller called Windhammer. A shapeshifter known as Molecular. Probably Mo for short. A robotic card shark called Poker Face. The weapons-heavy hardware, and the musical madness of Melodia, who uses a guitar that fires musical notes. Only 65 episodes. How did this not go more than that? Fires musical notes. A musical weapon. Honey, have you been practicing your guitar? How many people did you kill, honey? How many people did you kill? Linda, I don't think she likes playing the music. Well, you know what? She's going to thank me later by making her play this, by making her take these music lessons. You know, the elementary school has a music department now. Oh, really? Yeah. You can learn any musical instrument that doubles as a projectile weapon. And I think my son's going to sign up for it. Not sure which. He's debating between the death cello and the violent violin. One of the two. The death cello apparently shoots a rocket. The violent violin, though, it's more of a melee weapon. And he's back and forth. I mean, they said that he has a feel for the cello, like he has a gift with it. But I think he would rather kill people in the treble clef, basically. That's kind of where he's at there. So we'll see what he decides to do, where he decides to go with that. All right. So Quicksilver, formerly Jonathan Quick. See, he was lucky he had a last name like that, because if it had been, Jonathan Schwartz, I am Schwartz Silver, which somehow sounds even more Jewish than Schwartz. Jonathan Quicksilver, leads the SilverHawks with his metal bird companion Tallyhawk at his side. Twins Emily and Will Hart become Steelheart and Steel Will, the SilverHawks technician and strongman, respectively. Country singing Bluegrass piloted the team's ship. Country singing Bluegrass. Okay, this was the Silverhawk that has the cowboy hat and I believe the guitar of his own. Listen, I really enjoyed that set you did at the club, the music set you did. By the way, do you can you fly a spaceship, and do you want to fight crime in outer space? Yes? Guy, shocked you said yes. Fantastic. You're on the team. And then the Mirage, pronounced Mirage in the series, but given that spelling on the Kenner toy. Mirage. I see. The Mirage is the name of the ship. Got it. Rounding out the group is a youngster from the planet of Mimes. Wait a minute. The planet of Mimes. That right there How have the negotiations been going with the Planet of Mimes? Well, let's just say somebody has been pulling the imaginary string. We're not sure who. But I think we're in the process of signing the treaty. Well, the problem is they want to sign the treaty, but they're not using an actual pen. So there's no signature on the treaty. There's no treaty. It's all there's nothing physically there. But I think there's a treaty. I don't know. We basically had to play charades to even write the treaty. I'd feel better if they actually signed. They refused to sign with anything physical. It's really bad. We were in their Grand High Hall, which was just a field, which they were pretending was the Grand High. They don't live in anything. And yet thousands of them are working in a factory, but there's no factory. How have they survived? Why are we making a treaty with them? They showed me their rocket ship. There's no rocket ship. It's just a couple of mimes in a tree. He's named the Copper Kid and usually called Kid for short. A mathematical genius who spoke in whistles and computerized tones. Their bionic bodies are covered by a full-body, close-fitting metal armor that only exposes the face and an arm. I was talking about this before. Why an arm? The armor is equipped with retractile protective mask, retractable underarm wings, except bluegrass, thrusters on their heels, and laser weapons in their shoulders. Wow. Well, that's fun, right? That's there's a lot to unpack there. Truly, a lot to unpack. Shall we dive into the cast of characters? Commander Stargazer, voiced by Bob McFadden. A tough and grizzled old cop with bionic capabilities. He captured Monstar several years ago and had him imprisoned. Older than the other Silverhawks, he longs to return to Earth for either a vacation or for retirement. He chiefly serves as the Silverhawks' eyes and ears, keeping them appraised of their current situation. Can't he do that from Earth? Why is he out there in space? I feel like he could do that from Florida. His first name is apparently Bert. I love that in this article. His first name is apparently Bert. The scholarly Wikipedia article. I guess his name is Bert. I don't know. Apparently Bert. In the Silverhawks' first adventure, Stargazer is depicted as the keeper of Tallyhawk, who subsequently was teamed with Quicksilver. His armor is gold, covering the upper left portion of his head as well as his body, and his left eye has been replaced by a telescopic lens. Stargazer wears a white button-up shirt, loosened necktie, suspenders, and slacks, making him resemble a stereotyped plainclothes police officer. So he's got all these bionic capabilities, still needs suspenders. Well, everyone else upgraded to the latest version of Windows. He said, I'm fine with XP. I know it'll be limited, but I don't care. You deal with Windows 8 on your own. Quicksilver, voiced by Peter Newman. Captain Jonathan Quick was the former head of Interplanetary Force H and is the field leader of Silverhawks. Known for his quick reflexes and even quicker thinking, Quicksilver is an accomplished tactician and athlete. His armor is silver in color. Typical leading man. I am noticing that when I'm looking at the Silverhawks, the picture of them, it does kind of look like they have metal underwear. It's that typical superhero underwear over the pants thing, but it's all metallic. We will just leave that as it is. Bluegrass. He's the second in command of the Silverhawks and the chief pilot of the group, as well as a cowboy at heart. At heart, I'm a samurai. I thought I'd just like to throw that out there. Deep down underneath all of this, neurotic, terrified, woefully out of shape exterior is the heart of Batman. What can I say? He is the only active Silverhawk who cannot fly, but he is the one that pilots the team vehicle, the Mirage. How can he be a Silverhawk and not fly? Ooh, he uses his weapon instrument, portrayed in the toy line as his weapon bird with the name Sideman, and his lasso. He has an interface with the Mirage's piloting system, which he's affectionately dubbed Hot Licks, which is, Silverhawk HR is going to be all over him. His armor is blue-silver shade, and he wears a red bandana around his neck and a cowboy hat. Steelheart and Steel Will, voiced by Maggie Wheeler and McFadden. Sergeants Emily and Will Hart are fraternal twin siblings. They became Steelheart and Steel Will, respectively, when they joined the Silverhawks. They had artificial hearts implanted during their transformation. Why? Was there something wrong with what they had before? Their armors are both a dark steel color. They are the gearheads of the team. Due to an empathic bond, when one sibling feels something, the other feels it as well. Physically, they are the strongest members of the team. I don't know why they needed a heart. Yeah, we could throw in a bionic heart, too. Yeah, sure. Do it. The Copper Kid, vocal effects provided by Pete Senarazzi. He is the youngest member of Silverhawks and the only one not from Earth. A mathematical genius from the planet of Mimes. Oh, there it is. Where is his degree? Let me guess. He doesn't have a physical piece of paper that's a degree. His armor is copper-colored, but the wings have a silver-like appearance similar to those of his teammates. A natural acrobat, the Copper Kid has 2 razor-edged discs, one mounted on each hip, which he throws like frisbees. At the end of each episode, he was quizzed in astronomy lessons by Bluegrass as training to become the reserve Mirage pilot, a role he later infrequently filled. Hey, that's something. That's something. Wow. This is I gotta watch this show. I've got to see this. But I was going to dedicate the entire episode to Silverhawks, but I have to step away from it now. I can't. I'm kind of done talking about it. I feel like we've covered a lot there, and we need to process it now. Trying to deal with the enormous heat. I'm alone in the office today. It's a Sunday as I'm recording this. I don't want to turn on the AC because it's not technically a work day, and I don't want them to have to pay extra money for me to be here. So I am opting to not turn on the AC. So what's happening now is I'm feeling a little bit of this malaise that seems to be in every Tennessee Williams play. I've always depended on the kindness of strangers. I think I even heard actors talking about this, about how the immense heat of the South is kind of almost written into the rhythm of the play. Which it would have been interesting if Tennessee Williams had written Fast and the Furious movie, because it would not have been as fast or as furious. It would have been, I do believe the robbery will take place tomorrow, but before we plan this heist, I just need some lemonade and just to lie here for a moment and think about all the loves I've let slip away and all the beautiful things in my life I've allowed to wither and die. Oh, goodness, oh my. No, that Acura Integra is much too fast for what we need. No, goodness. Somehow this has become a British accent. That's how hot it is. It's so hot in this Fast and the Furious movie by Tennessee Williams that the accents are just melting from Southern to British. Oh, goodness, we must go faster. I know Vin Diesel is the lead of this series, but it would be great if a British man were to take over. Colin Firth. Can't Colin Firth be the head of one Fast and the Furious movie? Especially if he's kind of plays one of his befuddled characters. Oh goodness, I do believe we'll have to go fast, and I do believe there must be a degree of fury. Would you care to join us on this mission to go fast? I of course will go as fast and as safe as possible. The thing we want to avoid is any kind of collision of any kind, a loss of life, a loss of a car. Especially these cars, which the team has done such a good job of modifying and updating these cars. Although I do say that I find a good Rolls Royce is really unbeatable when it comes to the cars that I prefer. But I really recognize this is not a situation where we need the Rolls Royce. I didn't stretch the imagination. We will need one of those Lamborghinis they're talking about. Oh, I would pay good money. I would pay good money to see that. You know who else would be better? I've talked about this in a past podcast. Hugh Grant should be the lead of the next. Excuse me. Did you say fast? How fast do you think we'd need to go? I've driven fast before. I mean, not certainly not with anything within that violate the law per se. But I've gone fast, relatively fast, I'd say. Fast-ish. Rather not slow. Certainly not slow. I'm not slow, but I can drive fast, of course. Hugh Grant, Toretta, and Hugh Grant join forces in Fast and the Furious 10. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bump into you. Then that is the title of the movie. Fast and the Furious 10. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to bump into you. That is the title with Hugh Grant in it. Oh, my. Well, now I'm just being silly. I feel like I should say something more serious. I should be more serious. I should go deeper. I should dig deeper. Josh, you got to dig deeper. You got to dig deeper, Josh. I got to figure out. I got to visit my parents. I got to find the time to visit my parents. And we're getting to the point where it's getting harder to use the pandemic as an excuse. It's every time they say the vaccine holds up against the next variant, I'm like, better make my plane ticket. Better get my ticket. Of course, as soon as I get my ticket, that's when they'll announce, new variant, kills everyone, stay inside. By the way, does anyone know what's going on with the pandemic? Anyone heard anything? I don't know, CNN's not saying anything. Twitter's kind of quiet on it. I talked to a friend who said he heard that the emergency rooms the wait times are increasing because there's more people in the emergency rooms. But I guess they're all unvaccinated, we think. Are we? What's the happening? What's going on? What's the plan? What is the plan? Is it over? Is it not over? What's happening? But I do need to visit. I need to visit, say hi, see how they're doing, check in. And probably also live the rest of my life. I feel like I keep waiting to live my life as opposed to living my life. What do I mean by living my life? What is it I want to do that I haven't done yet? What is my bucket list? That's a good question. What is my bucket list? Well, I would like to go to Japan. I've always wanted to go to Japan. I would like to go to Japan. I don't know what I would do there. I'm kind of... I want to go to Japan, but I don't want to go to the touristy parts. But I'm not sure where to go in Japan. But I want to go because I want to... it's going to sound so foolish. I want to have I want to take a spiritual journey. Ah, yes. And I guess my instinct is saying, go to Japan. But I question that because I think spirituality is an inner journey. It doesn't matter where you are. Nevertheless, I have this thought. And I've always identified with Eastern. I love Eastern culture. I love the philosophy of Buddhism. My mom rather absolutely loved it. My mother absolutely loved Buddhism. But my mom was really into Buddhism, is really into Buddhism. And I don't know, the philosophy of it, whenever I've been at my lowest point, when I think about all the therapy I've been to, or the Al-Anon and the Alcoholics Anonymous stuff, the only thing that gives me any comfort is Buddhism and meditation, which is why I don't meditate. But it's the only thing that's made me feel, I don't even want to use the word better, made me feel at peace with whatever I'm feeling. Yes, that's what it is. And so I have this urge to go to Japan, but I don't want to travel right now. I want to wait until there's not I think they're locked down at the moment. Probably not a good time to go to Japan right now. But I would like to do that. In terms of other bucket list stuff, I don't know. I've never really thought of it. And I think the reason why I haven't thought of it is because I've so much of what I have thought about has been result driven. In other words, a year ago or even 2 years ago, I would have said, well, my bucket list is I want to have a following, and my bucket list is I want to the result, as opposed to, my bucket list is, things I can actually, actions I can actually take. Like I do want to, I want to produce an album a year. So I'm working on my next album, which theoretically is going to be all Star Trek Deep Space Nine jokes. If such a thing is possible. Which I say it is. That's what I would like to do. That's what I would like to do. That's what I would like to do. That's how I would like to. That's how I would like to be remembered. That's what I would like to do. You know what I mean? I don't know why I'm suddenly talking in this voice. I don't even know what this voice is. It sounds like it could be the voice of heavily intoxicated old-time news anchor saying there's a new report coming in there's been a fire, and the fire has claimed half of the rainforest, and there's a good deal of destruction and devastation, and we won't be able to breathe the oxygen in a good 5 years. It's indeed a terrible time for the world, and we will all be mourning our losses. But coming up next, we'll discuss the history of badminton. Where did it come from? Where is it going? I'm sorry. It's the heat. It must be the heat. It must be the heat. You know me, I can geek out over anything. I couldn't keep going on the SilverHawks. I saw enough. The fact that their instrument weapons alone. Yeah, well, Timmy, Timmy's taking the trumpet, which of course is a blowgun. And he's got the music part down. He just keeps forgetting to put the poison at the end of the dart. And, I tell him practice every night. And, he keeps blowing darts in people, but they don't die. And I don't know, what do? Do you ground him? Do you tell him not to play the instrument? I just wish he had more focus, you know what I mean? I just wish he had more focus with his... Oh, Blow gun trumpet. Blow gun trumpet. I will tell you something. I will tell you something right now. I will say this with the passion of 1,000 suns. What does that even mean? The passion of 1,000 suns. What does that mean? What does that even mean? I ask you. America, I ask you. What does that even mean? Will the world see what I see? Will I see what the world... Boy, I'm just really out of it. Come on, Josh, you got to focus. I don't know what kind of ethereal world I'm in right now. Ethereal. Yeah, I was having this conversation with somebody. I mentioned it before on this podcast. I'll mention it again. I'm more into the science fiction than the fantasy. I need to know, you know what? It's hard for me to get on board a story unless the problem can be solved with a science degree. I just need to know that Spock saved the day because he went to college. I like that. How did Rey save the day in Star Wars? Well, the Force was strong with her. How did Spock save the day in Star Trek? Well, because he worked really hard. He studied for 8 years. And he understands how cobalt works. That's how. Maybe because for me, the fantasy that I most connect with is the characters that maybe I could be that, which is in and of itself ridiculous. That's why I love Batman. Maybe I could do that. Maybe. No way I could do what Green Lantern does because that's all fantasy. But maybe, like if I threw a rope from one building to the other and I swung, maybe I could make it. Maybe. Maybe I could make it. That's why I relate. That is why I relate to it. That is why I relate to it. Yeah, printers. We're having some printer problems. A lot of printer problems at the office. Because they don't get the laser printer. They keep getting these cheaper, inkjet printers or whatever with these weird cartridges. And the thing just doesn't work after 5 seconds. Laser printer. It's all about the laser printer. We know the answer to this. We know the answer. We've solved the problem. We know what it takes. We know the laser printer is necessary. We know the laser printer works. Why are we avoiding the laser printer? Why do we go with how many cheap printers do we have to buy before we cover the cost of an actual laser printer? That's my question. That's what I would like to know. That is my critique of the situation. My definite critique of the situation right there. I have business cards. I don't mean to brag. It kind of feels like business cards depress me, I think. Because I feel depressed that I have business cards because, do the most successful people on earth need business cards? Does Tom Hanks walk around, hey, this is my business card, I'm an actor, I'm Tom Hanks. I've been in some movies, I've directed some things. Here's my card. Tom Hanks. How do you not know me? That should be on his business card. Tom Hanks, have you been living under a rock? No, I'm not giving you contact information. I'm Tom Hanks. I'm so beloved and famous, you need only shout Tom Hanks at the top of your lungs, and I, like a god, will appear and grant you the love that you have so been missing. So, a business card. A business card says, I love business cards. The business card says, I'm legitimate. That's what I feel like the business card says. No, I know what I'm doing. I am so successful, I was able to spend $12 to get 1,000 of these printed. Trust me. I hate business cards. I really do. It feels like it should just say Joshua Snyder. You don't know who he is, so he needs this stupid card. I feel good about that. I feel really good about that. Here's another thing we got to talk about. Another thing. I had a love-hate relationship. I think maybe you'll relate with me, those of you that are into computers. The all-in-one computer, where the monitor and the computer are all one unit. I have a love-hate relationship with these things because it is so convenient. It's just one thing. You plug a keyboard into it and you're done, as opposed to the tower. But the towers do seem more powerful. Like if I had to equate this with a war, and I'm going into a hopeless cause, I'd want the tower. I wouldn't want the all-in-one. The all-in-one's going to poop out at a moment's notice. If it's a Saving Private Ryan situation where you got to take a team behind enemy lines in World War II, that team better have at least one or two towers. If it's a team of all-in-ones, we're not making it past the halfway point of this movie, my friends. We are not. I think my favorite thing about the all-in-one is the moment where you ask it to do something that, like I have an all-in-one at home, and I just downloaded a new game on it. And the all-in-one was fine playing computer games from 10 years ago. But this game is new. And the all-in-one is saying, hey, let's not forget who I am here. Let's calm down. I can, there's going to be some, I can, the video game on this computer is really not a game. It is a series of slides that it plays once a minute. I press left and I can go take a shower, have a snack, and come back. And by then it'll still be turning left. That's what's happened. My all-in-one has kind of hit the wall. My all-in-one has hit the wall-in-one when it comes to processing speed. I downloaded the game, I pressed play, and the all-in-one went, "Excuse me, can I have a word with you? Can I take you over here for a second? Have a word in private. Hey, I don't know what you think I am. You see Xbox written on the side of my casing? That I am. Listen, you need a spreadsheet? I'm there for you. You want to play a computer game from 20 years ago? I'm there for you. You want to get on AOL? I don't even know if AOL is still a thing. You want to get on AOL? I'm your person. But you do anything that was conceived in 2020 or 2021, and I'm not going to make it back with you. It is a one-way journey for me. You will launch it, I will smile at it, and then I will see the bright light of the great computer beyond. That is my issue with the all-in-one. All-in-one, it's not a game console. It's designed, it's what you get for your grandmother so that she can check her email. That's how they should advertise it at Office Depot. New HP all-in-one computer. You have a grandmother who needs to check her email every now and then? Do you have a grandmother who checks Facebook once every 6 months? The all-in-one. It'll probably last about as long as your loved one. So it's good enough. HP all-in-one. That's closer. That's closer to the reality of that. Look at us. 43 minutes in, my friends. We're 43 minutes into this colossal sitch. We're 43 minutes in to this colossal situation. That is where we are at, my friends, my Romans, and my countrymen. That is where we are at. What else can I discuss here? Where do we go? I'm currently lying on the couch in the classroom. It's a very comfortable couch, though it could be longer. Don't worry, I'm fully clothed, which is weird that I would say that, because now you're immediately going to think he's lying, he's naked. I am not naked. I am fully clothed. I am not naked. I am sitting here on this couch. Is it leather or fake leather? I can't tell the difference. If I can't tell the difference, why do we still need leather? Why do we need to hurt these cows? Can't we let these cows roam free? Could a cow roam free? Could a cow survive? Probably, right? The cow was fine before we came in. But all the things we've done to cows now, all the genetic crap, if we were to just release a cow into... You know what? I bet they'd be fine. I bet they'd be better off than where they are now. And they would figure out a way to make it work. I bet it will be totally fine. I suddenly have an urge to pet a cow. I will make fun of the fact that I'll make fun of nature. I'll joke about how I don't belong in nature. Oh, I can't stand it. I need to be in a hotel. Mosquitoes. But the older I get, the more I do take comfort in nature. I do, if there's, even an area with a few trees and some grass, I do feel a bit more relaxed there than next to my all-in-one. There's an energy to nature that I could be, I think I've discussed this before on podcasts, but I'll discuss it again. I feel this peace and joy with the trees, and the tree just probably just looking at me going, I'm so ready to feast on your remains. I can't wait. When they bury you, try to do it near me. You look delicious. That's how nature is. That's what nature is exactly. I don't know. Is it good if we end at 47 minutes? Is that wrong? I feel like it's good. This might be a good place to end it. I mean, I got this thing about trying to do 50. Well, it's at 48 now, so if I just keep talking for a couple more minutes, I'll hit the 50-minute mark, and that'll feel good. That'll feel good. I've so far had a couple of pieces of bread and a biscotti. I need to eat more, probably, to survive. That would be my thinking. That's what I need to do. That's what I would suggest. And we'll just have to go from there, my friends. We will just have to go from there. You know what? I think... No, I have to do 50 minutes. I have to do it. Because I made a promise to Toretta. I made a promise to Toretta that before we would go on this fast and this furious thing that we do, this fast and this furious expedition is what I like to call it. He doesn't. He punched me every time I say the word expedition. But I did promise him that we would complete this podcast and that it would be at least 50 minutes. It's very important to him that it was at least 50 minutes. I promised him that, and I want to give that to him. And I think he deserves that. He's been very good to us, and the cars that he's given us have been very nice. I'd prefer, as I said, I'd prefer a Bentley, but I would never say it in front of him. He would punch me. He would punch me in the face several times. Several times he would punch me in the face, and then he would punch me in other body parts that I cannot discuss. But now it's quite clear that we've reached the 50-minute mark, and I feel much better about it. And I think without further ado, I can say that thank you. If I have offended anyone in this podcast, I apologize. Special apology to the person who wrote the article about SilverHawks. Please know that anything I say is in jest. I have a huge respect for what you've done. You've preserved the history of the SilverHawks, which may be valuable. It was valuable to me, certainly. It would make me actually watch the show. And I appreciate it, and I know that it probably had an important part of your childhood, as Thundercats had with mine. I am serious about that. I'm in my head going, what if the person who wrote the SilverHawks Wikipedia reads this and is insulted? I apologize to you, sir or madam, profusely, and yes, please forgive me. I'm just a guy trying to make content. I'm just a guy trying to make content. You know?